Okay, so we have our patterns here. Here is basically all the patterns right here. I know you can't see them because it's kind of like a chart within a chart, and then they're too small up here, but we will zoom in on them as we need to do. And like I say at the end of the lecture, I should say it, but I'm going to say it now so we don't get into something else and, and have to stop the lesson. And I didn't say that. Down below, you can subscribe to my channel, Andy's Free Guitar Chart Videos, and also I have in the description below, it's called a URL put together for Facebook, where you have to cut and paste the general Facebook group's address into the box and then put the group number um, adjacent to it without a space, and then return, and it'll go to Andy's Free Guitar Chart Videos, and that's where you can get the charts and you actually download picture. You know, don't just say save chart or something like that. I've had a video on that before. We don't have time to do that today. But you can get pretty good resolution on these charts. They're not that difficult to understand. Okay, so that with that said, we'll continue the lesson. Um, Now, we were looking at the S3AXL. This is the long pattern. And let's just review a second and say that here's our S3AXL. And really, it's just sitting there in the middle of a double string shaped pattern stack, the ladder, the caged ladder. 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7 root, 7 root 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7 root, and then warp up, root, 7 root 2. Okay, so it's 6, 7 root, warp up to that 7, 7 root 2, and then 2, 3, 4, and then 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. That's the caged ladder. But in the middle there, where we started 3, it would be on string number 4 from the top. So let's look at that. And there's our G sitting right there. We could go into the long pattern there. Okay, so we do something like alright, so in that way I went and skipped these patterns. So it's with the word caged, it's C, skip A, G, skip E, D shape, skip C, A string shape, skip G string shape. Okay, but then we went on to the long pattern there. That's one way to do it. So you don't have the repeats. You see these repeats, 6 and 6 there. That's a repeat. That's why I call it a ladder, because you always got to have contact on it. And it's really not a bad thing to do if you're playing along with a background track. You know, if you got something going, you know, like you know, it just doesn't matter if you double the notes there. But if you want to do a good pattern, see, this is called a ladder, it's not a pattern. A good pattern has to play. So notice over here with this pattern here, the name of it, I don't know what the name of this entire pattern is. I just call it the long pattern stack is what it is, and I would make an annotation there if I was filling in all the details I could possibly fill in. So it's 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4. Notice it counts. So if I call it a pattern, it counts. Then all you have to do is play it and hit the tuning warp. We could start from the 4 there and do a Lydian. 4, 5, 6, and then go into that 7, root 2. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. So at that 6/7 root, we have to hit the tuning warp for the D string shape. Okay, so it'd be 2, 3, 4. Now, I decided it might be a good idea, instead of playing the entire S3XL, that we would define a longer string shape, not unlike the violin, where we have these five there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 note string shapes, where you actually might be sliding one of those notes. So that would obviously be where the half note is. Now in this scheme here, let's look at the 4. First of all, the 4 doesn't change because the 5 is a textbook short string shape anyway. It's just 5, 6. All right, so when we extend the S4 XL, it doesn't extend. It becomes the same thing. So S14 XL equals X14 extra long. Same thing. But these two guys are going to change. All right, so let's make sure we have our S3XL here, because I don't want you guys to get confused. So here's our S3AXL here. It's normally just 5, 6, 7, but we're going to extend it to 5, 6, 7 root. Why are we going to do that? Because we want to get into the full G string shape pattern for the short pattern up in that G string shape. And if we start on a S1R double XL, we're going to go root 2, 3 right into the 4th, which is going to take us into that D string shape and up on that D string shape very quickly and easily. So let's put the capo back on. Getting muscles. Let's look at the 5, 6, 7 into the G string shape. So normally it would be the S3AXL from the 5, 6, 7 would be, which is essentially an A string shape. It would be a Mixolydian A, so it would be, and by the way, the A string shape, it's always Mixolydian. Okay, so, but we don't want to play the whole long one. I'll tell you why. Because when we get to the top of the long pattern down here, this is the same thing. We have to go into the 7 root 2 right there. So we're going to do that and warp up. And guess what? We're going to land on a short string shape, a normal short string shape, finger barred cage right here. What is that cage? Okay, so in the key of E, that is going to an A, right? Is that not going to an A shape? The 5th of A is the 4th. The 4th of E there. Alright, so that would be the G string shape there. And essentially it would be a G-shaped A at that point, okay? So the reason why we want to make a long pattern go right into that next string shape from the get-go is so we don't get confused. So let's look at it this way. We're going to play, we're going to start with, let's say we're going to start with this Mixolydian 5, 6 and go right into that G shape. So first we've got this. Just like that. We took it right into the next string shape. We just played away from that fret nut, and instead of doing the long pattern, we went right into the G string shape from there. And similarly with the root string shape.